And they had a question, and it just goes something like this, Tom. What other costs are involved in buying a home other than the option and the earnest?
Yeah, so real quick, option money is the money you would pay to have the option to back out. On the contract, that it's called an unrestricted right to terminate, which means there are no restrictions. I could wake up on the wrong side of the bed and back out of this deal. It's mostly intended for you to be able to evaluate the property. Some people call that the inspection period, right? So in our market, it's way too low, but the standard is somewhere around $100 to $200. The earnest money is I've previously referred to, and we have a video of this on the YouTube page, tthst.tv, but I've referred to it as a semi-refundable deposit. It's usually around 1% of the purchase price. If you're buying a $400,000 home, it's around $4,000. That's going to go over to the title company. If the deal falls apart, but everybody followed the terms of the contract, that will get refunded. If somebody didn't follow the terms of the contract, that will get forfeited probably to the other person. Now, what costs are involved other than that? The truth is quite a few, and you need to be aware of that. If you're buying, is this a buyer asking?
It's a buyer.
Okay,
yeah,
buyer asking this question. You're probably going to end up paying a home inspector to do an inspection for you. You may want to do more than one general inspection. You might do a pool inspection, a pest control inspection. Earlier we had a question about land. You might do a septic inspection or a well inspection. You might want to extra thorough look on HVAC, heating and air conditioning, or roofing or foundation. Now, if you're one of our clients, we have a lot of vendors that will do a lot of these things for free. Not all of it, but a lot of it. But there's some fees related to those inspections. Once you've already purchased, you need to factor in the fact that there's going to be some things that are new about your house that you're going to spend some money on. There may be a room that your furniture didn't fit in as well as you thought, or there may be a room that you want to buy some new curtains for because your old curtains don't make sense in there. They're not tall enough or whatever. There may be some appliances you want to upgrade. There may be things like that. But even just in the process of buying, if you're borrowing money, there's going to be some lender-related fees. There's going to be probably an appraisal fee. There's going to be maybe some origination fees. The umbrella answer I want to get is more than just the cost of the house.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we run into buyers that are just barely squeezing their budget just to come up with the money for a down payment and the house. They're trying to skimp on doing inspections, and we tell them, please do not try to save $300 when it could cost you $300,000.
Yeah.
Please don't try to save $50 when it could cost you $50,000. And listen, most of our clients become friends and they want our advice, and we try to help them wisely steward their time, their energy, their financial resources. Some of our clients don't invite us into that level of advocacy for them. And of course, any of our clients get to make their own choices around their homes. We're there to be the expert advisor and guide and lead them through the process. But that's generally how we would counsel or coach someone through that. Is there are other expenses and other fees. Now, one of those big questions a lot of times is about commissions. And more often than not every time, but more often than not, the seller is paying the vast majority of the commissions to their agent. And then their agent might or might not be, they usually are, offering a portion of their commission to the buyer's agent. Now, there's a lot of different models and a lot of different fees and things like that. But generally speaking, if you're a buyer, those other costs are going to be related to inspections and closing and then your life in the home.
Yeah, so I have a follow-up thought and then a follow-up question. Recently, when my wife and I sold our first house and moved into our second house, I was shocked at the amount of costs which really came after the sale. Because we moved from one house to another, and then you quickly realize, well, these curtains are not going to go in this house.
Right.
We don't want this, even small things, we don't want this trash can to move from house to house.
Right.
So you start replacing all of those things, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, there's a lot more cost that goes into it than just buying
You might
a house.
change out the locks. I mean,
Exactly.
it sounds kind of silly and funny, but I know people that when they buy a new home, new to them, but someone else has lived there, they change out all the toilet seats.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's kind of weird. I want my own. Well, $30-something bucks per toilet. You got 4 bathrooms, 3-4 bathrooms, whatever. It's like, okay, well, that was $120 plus tax, plus install. Okay, well, a couple $100 here. Well, the grout in that one bathroom is a little bit weird. We want to redo the tile, or we want to have that stained and cleaned up. Or we didn't really think about it, but that door between the garage and the house is kind of funky. We want a different one.
Right, because you want to make it your own house.
Well, we didn't think about it, but we don't really have any paintings or framing things to hang on that wall, and it's a big wall. It looks weird. We need something for that, right? Well, 80 here, 120 there, 200 there. Okay, well, that was a couple $1,000.
Yep.
And that's where, if you're just barely saving to squeeze into a house, we often say, look, we could talk you into selling a home, we could earn a commission, but really, why don't you wait another 6 months so it's comfortable and it's not stressful? We don't want your home to be a burden to you. We want your home to be a blessing to you.
I love what we say, that it has to make sense for you, your family, and your finances.
Yeah.
And if all three of those things match up and line up, great. Yeah. If one of them's a little bit off, then we probably need to have that discussion.
And just so our listeners and our friends know, I get made fun of for saying that all the time. I have real estate agents that all the time are like, oh my God, your family and your finances, right? Because what they want to say is, buy now, buy now, buy now, sell now, sell now, sell now.
Right.
Get me a commission. We call that commission breath. When a real estate agent needs you to buy more than you need to buy, that is the worst real estate agent you could have. It doesn't mean they're a bad person, but they might be in a desperate financial situation, and you can just hear it and smell it and feel it on them. You know, like they're like, this is a wonderful house for you. The girls could be in this room. Oh, you guys could have great parties in the kitchen. You're like, this is obviously not a wonderful house for us. What are you doing? Why are you trying to push us into this house? And the reason is they need it more than you need it. And that's a really bad advisor. They're no longer an advisor. They're a hardcore closing salesperson. And that's really not what a great real estate agent does. Honestly, a great real estate agent makes one sale. They have a job to do to find out if they are the right professional for you and if you're the right client for them. That's the sale. The buying or selling of the house becomes more of a matching process. Can we find the right home for you? Can we find the right buyer for your house? Yes, there are some sales strategy in there in the negotiation between buyer and seller and things, but for you, the only thing they really have to sell is their expertise and their leadership and guidance, just like an attorney or an accountant or a doctor would, right? You choose your doctor based on whether you think they're the right person to help you. Then they don't sell you on treatment. They find the right treatment for what you need.
Right.
That's really what a great agent should do.
Well, we see some of this on TV shows, right? My wife loves watching all those home shows about people buying houses and things.
Oh, the one where all the real estate agents negotiate deals and cocktail parties?
Right, those ones. But you see it all the time where it's, hey, our budget is, let's just say, $400,000, right?
Right.
And the first or second home that they get to go and see, and they love it, and it's beautiful, and it's, how much do you think this costs?
Yeah.
And they give an answer, and the answer is $480,000. You're like, it's $80,000 over your budget.
Right.
Now, I'm sure some of that's done because it's a TV show, and they want to kind of bring that suspense. But the sad piece of that is that that's actually happening all over the place.
There are coaches and consultants training real estate agents on what order to show you homes so that you immediately hate the house that's priced at your budget, fall in love with the house that's way over your budget, and then settle for the house that's like, instead of $100,000 over your budget, it's only $40,000. And now that looks cheap because we didn't spend $100 over, we only spent $40 over. And that agent's doing that because they're going to earn a higher commission.
Yeah.
That's shady.
Yeah.
Period.
Agreed.
All right, now listen. If you're tuned into the show right now and you happen to be here from across the pond, you have the rare and fantastic privilege of listening to the soothing tones of the one and only producer, Ian Daniels. That's right, from north of London all the way to the great state of Texas, we've got Ian Daniels with us. You may be a native Texan. You may be tuning in all the way from California. Occasionally the WBAP signal is so strong, you can literally pick it up on the West Coast. You may be right here in our backyard in Dallas and Fort Worth, but regardless of where you are, folks, you have the unique privilege of hearing the gifted, the talented, the handsome, and the soothing tones of Ian Daniels. Sir.
From Yorkshire, England.
Yorkshire.
And I would argue it's the greatest county in England.
What if I were to say, not that I am, but if I were to say Yorkshire, how would you feel about that?
I would tell you you're wrong.
And what if I were to call the game that you love so much soccer?
You mean football?
I mean soccer.
Football, right?
No. In America, there's goalposts and an oblong ball made of pigskin. That's called football. And it's the most lucrative sport in the world. So you could say that soccer is, you'd be wrong. But let's celebrate the English side of everybody and say, up the borough.
Up the borough.
All right, let's get back to real estate, folks. Do we have any questions?
We do.